On this episode of Winning the Moment, we have Matt Blanchard, and this is an episode that is unlike any other I've ever had. I think I only officially asked like 2 questions, but we run for a good hour and 30 minutes. It's so good, we're going to do a part 2. You're going to want to jump in and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. Well, wherever you are and wherever you're listening, thank you for being back with us on another episode of Winning the Moment. Today, I have a motivational speaker, Matt Blanchard, with me. We've already kind of been riffing a little bit before the episode started, but he's got such an amazing story to tell, and a lot of it I'm going to hear for the first time. I just know bits and pieces, so it's kind of on the edge of my seat here. I'm really excited to hear the story, but Matt, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
So there's so much in this backstory, and so I don't know where you like to start, but wherever it is that you feel like is most appropriate to share your story, let's just start there.
All right, I like it. So here's the thing. We'll go, and I know they can edit and cut out and things like that. So do you want the story that I've told a million different times, or do you want more authenticity? What do you want?
Oh, let's get authentic. Let's let it rip.
All right, bro. So you're gonna make me cry. I know you will. It depends on what questions you ask, but you make me cry.
It happens.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
All right, so January 16th of 2006. So we're coming up on my 19th year anniversary.
Yeah.
I jump in my car. It's raining outside.
Is this in St. George?
Yeah, in St. George, living in St. George. And I'm an electrical contractor at the time. I had a division in Salt Lake, killing it. And then I decided to start a division in St. George.
Okay.
And because I moved down to St. George in 2005. So that's when things were just going nuts.
Booming.
Dude. Money was too easy.
Yeah, you couldn't not make money in 2005 in St. George.
Right? Crazy.
Especially if you're an electrical contractor, because houses were just boom, 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 boom.
Turning work away, and then just raising your price. So things were really good.
Yeah.
So I hustle out to my truck because I'm late to get up to Cedar City to bid an electrical job up at the hospital. And as I jump in my truck, hurry across town, pick up one of my employees, Brett. He's a 19-year-old punk kid.
How old are you at this time?
I'm 30.
Okay.
And Brett jumps in the cab of my truck, and he's got kind of long hair, and he shakes the rain off himself. And now I've got water and all this stuff on my brand new truck. 30 miles on this bad boy, man.
Oh okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Cummins diesel. Yeah. So he jumps in the truck, and he points right at me and says, "Matt, put your seatbelt on." And I still don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
But at that moment in time, I was like, bro, look at all the water. I'm pissed. And I turned to him and I point right back at me. Don't tell me what to do. So we jump on the freeway. He clicks his belt, jump on the freeway, start heading up towards Cedar, and rain turns to snow. For a second time.
Yeah, Black Ridge.
Yeah, right there, bro.
Yeah, that's where it always happens.
Dude, he's like, "Matt, put your seatbelt on." And this time I gave him all the reasons why I didn't need to wear a seatbelt. So I'm 6'2", and at the time I was 215 pounds. Just ran the St. George Marathon. I was in the best shape of my life. And I give him all these reasons, and I'm like, "Look, Brett, I'm not only that, I'm your boss. You're 19.
Yeah, you just already kind of painted that picture, right? He's a 19-year-old punk.
Yeah.
You're a 30-year-old successful man. You're kind of like, you're not telling me what to do.
Right. And like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And further up the canyon we go. And now we have whiteout conditions, and I'm following a semi-truck, white-knuckled. And I'm having an internal dialogue of, "Hey, Matt, put your seatbelt on." And the other voice saying, "If you put your seatbelt on, Brett wins. Kid you not."
Isn't it amazing how we can be so simple-minded that you were putting yourself in danger, but just the desire to be right, and not to give to give any will to this person.
Yeah,
you did, because if you wouldn't have said anything about the seatbelt, you would have chosen on your own accord.
Amen.
To put it on 100%.
100%.
But now you're in this pretend battle that Brett doesn't even know you're having.
Yeah. I just gave him all the reasons why I didn't need to wear it. I'm invincible, man.
Yeah.
You know? And that was the mentality.
I already see the goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's true. So I tell him, no, I'm not putting my seatbelt on again for the third time. Not a still small voice, not a warm, funny feeling. Someone sitting right next to me. "Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Protect yourself."
Yeah.
And 3 times I said, "Nope." So the semi-truck gets off the highway at New Harmony.
Yeah.
And I go through that semi-truck's tracks, lose control of my truck, go down into the median, and as soon as the front tires caught that dirt, that wet dirt from the snow, my truck launches into the air.
Oh God!
And dude, everything slows down, and I remember thinking, "Holy shit, we're gonna roll!" And it comes down on the driver's side cab and rips my hands from the steering wheel, and starts its second rotation, and now I'm being flung through the cab like a rag doll. And in all, it rolled 2.25 times, and it ended up on the passenger door, still running, but everything was black, like I couldn't see anything. And I was disoriented and confused. And I realized the reason why I couldn't see anything is my hips were covering my face. My back had gone to the steering wheel, and I had literally snapped myself in two.
Oh, my God.
So I'm laying there on the passenger door, and I'm looking straight up. So you'd be the driver door.
Yeah.
And Brett's buckled in right here. And I look up over my head, and I grab my knees, and I pull them back down, and now I'm sitting on Brett's laps. And as I pulled my legs down, they just kind of flopped, And,
just like Gumby, just like not even connected.
Bro. And I just look right around like, Brett, I'm paralyzed. And he's like, no. And he grabbed one of my legs and put it down, and I grabbed the other one. I can't feel a thing, not a thing. And a highway patrolman see the whole thing happen. He came over to the truck. Hey, is everybody all right?
Is Brett fine?
Brett's fine. Brett had just had our coffee spilt on him. That was it.
Yeah.
And the highway patrolman's looking through the windshield, and he's like, hey, is everybody all right? And I said, no, I can't feel my legs. So he jumps up on the driver's side door and pops out the window. Or I think, the window was popped out. And he passes in a C-collar, and they put a C-collar on me. And
that's like to hold your neck in place?
Right, to hold my neck in place. He says, we're gonna get you out of the truck. We're going to pop out the front windshield, and we'll take you out that way. So the front windshield's right here. And I'm like, cool, get me out of here. So he takes the windshield out, and now the snow and the wind's coming in, and I was so cold, freezing cold. But I was on too awkward of an angle to get, if I had suffered a spinal cord injury, to get me up out of the window.
Yeah.
So he gave us blankets, and Brett held me in that truck for 2 hours.
Just trying to keep you warm?
Yeah. It took that long for emergency crews to drive down from Cedar.
Oh, because of the weather.
Yeah, horrible. And he kept me conscious. No pain, zero pain. I don't know if it was from
Did
shock.
you have panic though? Even though you weren't in pain, were you panicking?
Yeah, I could hear my cell phone going off in my pocket, and it was on vibrate as well.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear. I could hear the vibration.
Couldn't feel it.
Couldn't feel it.
Wow. At what point in that moment did you ever have the chance to think about the seatbelt, or did you spend that whole 2 hours thinking about it, or was that not even a part of your process?
Yeah, that wasn't even part of the process.
Because you're just thinking about like, what does the rest of my life look like?
Yeah. Well, at the time, I was thinking, I'm straight. I'm okay. I might have tweaked something, but I'm going to be fine.
So you weren't worried yet about it?
No, I wasn't worried.
And so you're 30. Were you married, kids, anything like that? You were, okay.
So I married my high school sweetheart when I knew everything at 19.
Of course, yeah. As we all do.
And we have 3 amazing kids.
Okay.
2 boys and a girl, a little girl in the middle. And yeah, we're coming up on 29 years of marriage. I put up with her that long, man.
That's amazing. I love to hear it.
So yeah, they cut us out of the truck. They finally get there. They cut the entire top of my truck off.
Wow.
And put me on a gurney.
And all this time you're still thinking you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Because dude, I'm Matt Blanchard. I'm this mountain of muscle. Everything's fine. I'm in my head, I'm thinking everything's going to be fine. I'm okay. This is temporary.
Yeah. So you weren't even really scared yet.
No. But it's coming.
Yeah.
So they life flight me to LDS hospital. So I had the choice to either go to Vegas or to Salt Lake. And I grew up in Salt Lake. So life flight me to LDS hospital in Salt Lake. And I undergo 2 surgeries. The first surgery, they open up my back. So what had happened, I didn't snap into like a pencil. I suffered what they call a T12 compression burst. So the 12th vertebrae, so 2 inches above your belly button.
Okay.
There was so much pressure, it grenaded in my back. And piece of the bone went into my spinal cord just enough that at 30, I lost everything below the waist.
Wow.
So I the first surgery, they go in, take out all that bone and everything. They look at the cord, and it doesn't look like any damage has been done. And so I'm thinking, all right, cool. And they have to close me up, though, because I'm bleeding out. They're doing blood transfusions. They said that my muscles were so thick on my back, they couldn't control the bleeding.
Oh, wow.
So they closed me back up, and this was on a Wednesday. Went back in on a Friday and so right now my back's held together with 12 titanium screws, 2 rods that literally run the full length of my spine, a plate and a basket. And what they did with this basket was where they had to take that vertebrae out, they put that basket around my cord and filled it with bone, took out one of my ribs, filled it with bone, let it calcify, become my new vertebrae.
Wow.
And then they fused me. So I wake up in the ICU, and all I want to do is sit up. I've been laying down for 10 days. I've been in ICU for 10 days.
So this is after both surgeries then? Okay.
And I want to sit up, and I can't sit up. And I'm thinking, okay, they still got me strapped down to that damn gurney or something. And I'm looking down at my body, and there's nothing there. So I look at the goal was to grab my quads and just pull myself up to a sitting position. And I look at my right hand, I've got electrodes and tubes and all this stuff coming out of my arm.
Yeah.
I look at my left, nothing. So I reached down and I grabbed my left quad, and I couldn't feel the touch of my own hand.
Oh, wow.
And right then, that's when it all hit. That's when I realized I'm paralyzed. This thing is, this has been 10 days.
I was going to say, it's amazing it took that long before you finally gave into the reality of the situation.
Yeah. I was, I couldn't, the reason why I couldn't sit up is I didn't know how to anymore. I'd lost my abs. I'd lost everything below the waist. So I did not know how to sit up.
Right.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so they moved me out of ICU into my own medical room. And now hundreds of people that had waited 10 days to give me love and support and tell me I'm going to be okay. Now, these are people that I've known my entire life, from my faith, from elementary school, all the way through college.
I have one other question, too. So you, with your electrical company, was it your company, or did you work for somebody?
It's my company.
So did you have insurance?
Nope.
Oh, God.
Okay, bro. So, well, I had health insurance, but I had exempted myself from the workman's comp.
Yeah.
Because it was my company, and I didn't work in the field, you know.
Well, and that's why I wanted to ask, because it's different if that wreck happened to you and you worked for someone else,
right?
Than if you,
right. And it was I had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
You know? But thank the Lord, I had catastrophic insurance. You know, I had a pretty big deductible. Like I had a $10,000 deductible. And then it was like an 80-20 after that. Okay. Because I was healthy, you know. Yeah. I didn't worry about that kind of stuff.
And when you're that type of a guy, we usually think that, like, well, not gonna happen to me.
Oh, you know what? Oh, my lands. So that paralysis happens to other people, not to me.
Yeah, right.
There's no way.
Because I'm always like, I don't need it.
Right. Yeah. And then being told to protect yourself, and then being arrogant. And I'm in a wheelchair because of pride and arrogance. That's why I'm in a wheelchair.
So do you? Well, I guess if you had your seatbelt on, you'd have been fine.
I'd been fine. Yeah, that maybe I get hit in the head because it came down on the driver's side cab. Maybe. Yeah. But man, yeah, Brett was fine. Brett's still an electrician today.
I was going to ask, you still have a relationship with Brett?
Yeah, he's my boy, man. Yeah, he's great. Brett's great. He doesn't drive in the snow. Like we are both terrified of driving in the snow.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and and then the fear. Oh, fear, man. That I was so scared at 30 years old, and when these people would come into my room to wish me good luck and hey, we got you. Yeah. I wouldn't open my eyes for anybody. I wouldn't acknowledge anybody. I just wanted this nightmare over.
Like you wouldn't open your eyes?
No. I wouldn't.
Where did that come from, do you think?
I wanted to die. I didn't want to live anymore.
It's like depression.
Yeah. Now, I don't even know if depression had set in yet. I just thought, if I can't run marathons, And if I can't teach my kid how to step into a fastball or cut
or even provide, right?
There you go. What am I going to do? So much fear. And so, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't think I could do it. And I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So as they come into my room and they'd leave at the end of the day, 8:30, and we're talking hundreds of people. I mean, my network is my net worth. I know everybody, and I put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah.
And have my whole life. It's important to me.
Yeah.
And as these people that I'd known my whole life would come into my room, I wouldn't talk to anybody.
Were you like pretending to be asleep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like medicated.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd come up and they'd touch me and they'd cry and they'd do their thing, and I just was trying to figure out, okay, how do I end this, man? Because I don't want to be remembered like this. Like, I want to be the man. Because I've always been the man.
Yeah.
And
30 still, I mean, that's young,
dude. So young.
So young.
So young. Yeah, my kids were 8, 10, and 12. Here's the thing. My oldest has memories of me walking. My little girl has one memory. Now, she's 25 today, so he's 27. My little girl has one memory of me walking, and my youngest son has none. Not even one.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So as they left the room, everybody, visiting hours were over. Everybody left the room but one person, my dad, my old man. And my dad's been gone now for a couple of years. Love you, Pops. And he pulls a chair over to my bed, and I wouldn't even open my eyes or talk to my dad.
Yeah.
But he knew I was awake.
Yeah.
He knew it was, you know.
He'd seen you pretending to be asleep since you were a kid.
Exactly. Yeah, Dad knows. Dads know. So he says, you know, Matt, this is paralysis. This is big. And he's having a conversation with me without me acknowledging. And he says, you know, you can quit. Matt, we can all quit. But do you have it in you to dig in, dig deep, and get it done? Dig in, dig deep, get it done. And he left the room. So now I get to wrestle with my dad's words, you know, all night long.
And your own thoughts.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sitting there digging. A life of paralysis, man. And then dig deep. A wheelchair. So I'm going to be in a wheelchair and then get it done. And I decided I was going to walk again. Like, I'm Matt Blanchard. I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I'm going to walk again. Spinal cord injury, got nothing on me. Like just telling myself this over and over.
Yeah.
You know, and as you're going through this, you're trying to crunch your toes. Like, I haven't crunched my toes in 19 years, man.
Oh, that's crazy.
The grass, that feeling on your feet.
Yeah.
Walking on the beach, like I can't remember what it feels like.
It's interesting. We had a guy in the podcast who talked about gratitude, and he said, change the way you think about gratitude and imagine that anything you weren't grateful for disappeared.
Yeah.
And then it makes you think of like putting your feet in grass. On a regular day, if I said, name 3 things you're grateful for, your feet in the grass would not make the list.
No.
But if you can't have it.
Right. Oh, dude, this is good. You're good, man. Yeah. So the following morning, my occupational therapist comes into the room and he's like, Matt, what do you want to do? What do you want to do today? And I'm like, Casey, I want to walk. And he's like, okay, all right, we'll walk. He knowing full well, homeboy's not walking.
Was it absolutely definitive you could never walk?
Well, the doctor had told my family and friends that about my injury and that I wasn't going to walk again, that I'd be in a wheelchair. But no one told me. No one.
Okay.
And it because you just don't tell me.
Yeah.
You don't.
No, I mean, that makes sense. Why limit?
Right.
Why limit the one thing you have to like work towards now,
right.
You know, to like keep your positivity.
Yeah. So I decided I'm going to walk again. And Casey says, okay, we'll walk. But first I want you to get your socks on. And I'll go ahead. That makes sense. And he starts to leave the room. And I'm like, yo, Casey, where you going? I just got to get my socks on. And he's like, get your socks on and we'll walk. So I've got a brace that goes from just underneath, from here all the way down, my hips to just under my shoulder blades, so that I can't screw up all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I look down and I can't even see the feet I'm trying to get these socks on. And I can't sit up. I don't know how to sit up. I don't know how to roll over, and I damn sure didn't know how to get my socks on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Casey, where you going? You get your socks on. I'm like, right on, cool. And I'm trying for about 40 minutes to get socks on, and I'm cussing because I'm a cusser.
Yeah.
And then doctors and therapists are coming in my room and, hey, are you okay? What's going on? I'm like, get my socks on, man. Can you see I'm getting my socks on? And sweating. There's an outline of sweat. I mean, I am working my
Well,
butt
yeah,
off.
and also because you're angry too. So then you've got that angry sweat in addition to physical exertion sweat.
Yeah. Mind going crazy because all you got to do is get your socks on.
It's interesting because that actually reminds me of John Wooden, the greatest basketball coach ever. The very first practices for the freshmen at UCLA when he was the coach was how to tie their shoes.
Really?
Because he was like, if you don't know how to tie your shoes correctly, then how are you going to learn my place? And he had a particular way they had to put their socks on and tie their shoes. And they spent the very first couple of days of practice only learning how to put on socks correctly and tie their shoes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Important, though.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
And you don't see the importance of that.
Yeah, because he's like, if you don't, then you're going to get, your feet are going to get sore, you're going to get blisters, or you're going to roll your ankle. Like, before we can even talk about dribbling a basketball, let's talk about putting our socks and our shoes on right.
Brilliant. So Casey comes into the room, and he's like, Matt, been 40 minutes. You don't have socks? I thought you wanted to walk. Like, he knows.
He knew
knows
what kind of guy he was dealing with.
Oh, yeah. So everybody did. The physicians knew. Because they knew from ICU, hey, this pain in the ass is coming. I'm just letting you know he's coming.
Yeah.
And so he says, you want some help putting your socks on so we can go walk? To get my goal of walking.
Yeah.
And I look right at him and I'm like, no, I don't need help getting my socks on. Nobody needs help getting their socks on. And today I realized that we all need help getting our socks on.
Yeah.
It's just my socks look a little different than your socks.
Yeah.
And so he starts to leave the room again, and he throws me, kid you not, a lasso. Like, it has a loop on each end, and and I'm trying to lasso a foot now that I can't see.
Oh.
Right? Used up every cuss word there is. Yeah. Start making up some cuss words.
Yeah.
Finally, rope my right foot, and I'm so far gone mentally. I start having a conversation with my right foot as I'm putting my sock on, like, dude, come on, really? Like, it's been an hour and with no socks on.
Right.
We got to walk. We're going to walk. And throw my foot down at the end of the bed, grab that lasso, and I lasso my left foot first time and pull it up, and I commend the left foot. I'm like, hey, good job. And just then, Casey comes walking into the room. It's been an hour, I think it was an hour and 10 minutes, and he's applauding me, and I'm exhausted. Because I got my socks on by myself.
Yeah.
And he's like, Matt, you got your socks on. Let's go walk. And I was just like, oh, dude, I'm exhausted. Not today. Not today. And I realized I needed help. Like, I needed help.
That was probably hard, too.
Dude, I'd lost, like, think about it. As a 30-year-old man, I had lost everything below my waist.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, because how are you going to provide, and how you can't be an electrician, what are you going to do?
Right.
You got a family that's relying on you and counting on you, and also it sounds like some of your self-worth was through your physical
100%.
abilities, right?
Yeah. Because I'd done so much with my physical abilities to establish these relationships and things, and now that was gone. So how the hell was I?
Well, and then that network that's so important to you, that network is built through doing those activities that you're no longer able to do.
Yes, and man, so we worked hard for 3 months, learning how to roll over and sit up and get socks on and get dressed. And one morning, Casey comes into my room, and I'd gotten up early and got my socks on, because I'm walking.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
Now, it's been 3 months. 3 freaking months.
You've been in the hospital the whole time.
Yeah. The whole time. And I didn't want to leave the hospital until I was walking.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was walking. And I knew it. Like, I knew it. I wasn't hopeful.
Yeah.
I knew I was walking. I'd gotten, I was, at that time, I was part of a faith that I'd received blessings and all these things, and that said, hey, I'm going to walk. And then blessings from people who didn't even know me, that in those blessings, hey, you're going to walk. I knew I was walking out of LDS hospital.
Can I ask, you said at the time, so were you LDS at the time and you no longer are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm no longer LDS, and nothing against that religion. That religion's great. It has great principles. It has groups of people you can gather together and things like that. So it's great. I just outgrew it.
Yeah.
And so, hey, if that's
when you have a transformative life experience, all things are on the table for evaluation in a different way.
Yeah. And my relationship with God, and it was bumpy. To say the least.
A lot of anger there, I'm sure.
A lot of anger, man. A lot of anger. I've never talked about this before, ever. And so let's, I went from, being in the LDS faith, I thought, I'm going to corner God. I'm going to corner him, because there's a scripture in D&C 10:5 that says, it says, I, the Lord, am bound when you do what I say. When you do not what I say, you have no promise. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what you say.
Yeah.
And I'm going to walk again with your help.
Right.
And so I did all the things. I drank the Kool-Aid hard, and
that scripture, is that from the Book of Mormon or from the Bible?
That's actually in Doctrine Covenants, the D&C 10:5. So the Doctrine Covenants is a book of, like, there's the Doctrine Covenants, Pearl of Great Price, and D&C in the LDS religion.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what the D&C
right,
is.
Right, yeah, D&C Doctrine Covenants.
Okay,
yeah. So I was raised in this.
Okay,
in this
so
religion.
that was part of LDS scripture.
Yeah. So, anyway, my doctor and my therapist come in one morning, and I'm like, Casey, check it out. I'm ready to go. Let's go walk. And my physician that had done my surgeries. Now, this is the same physician who did Tiger Woods' back and shoulder and knee. Homeboy knows what's up. He is amazing.
So did Tiger go to LDS Hospital to get that done? Or did
Park
the
City.
Okay.
Park City. So the guy is
Yeah.
I love him. I still to this day love him.
Yeah.
And he says, Matt, I understand you want to walk. And I said, no, you got it wrong. I'm going to walk. And he said, you've suffered a very severe spinal cord injury, and I've treated thousands of spinal cord injuries just like yours throughout my career. You're not going to walk again. You need to become independent in your wheelchair. And he left the room. Because, surgeons, they don't have really good beds.
Yeah. It's also, they're just black and white because it's science, right?
Yeah.
So science isn't meldable or squishy. It is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And
what he's saying is scientifically true at that time.
Right. And it's exactly what I needed to hear. And I developed a hatred for this doctor. And because I'm going to walk. Dude, I don't care what you say. I'm going to walk. And so I'm begging Casey, like, bro, I know. I don't care what he said. Like, I want to walk. Let's do this thing. And so what I did at that point, without even knowing it, and I do this today, I rid myself of all negative criticizing people, and then I went to work on negative criticizing thoughts, which was tough at the time, at 30, not knowing who you are or what you are. Yeah,
it's so important. I tell my kids, because they'll say something like, "Oh, I'm stupid," and it's like, would you let someone say that I'm stupid, like about your dad? Like, of course not. It's like, so, but why are you saying it to yourself? And at the end of the day, if you say something enough, you're going to start to believe it.
Amen.
And you're going to have behaviors that allow you to validate that thing so you can feel right, because as people, we want to be correct. So if you say something that's self-deprecating, you'll find opportunities to prove yourself right. But the opposite is true as well. If you give yourself affirmations and confidence, then you'll find opportunities to allow that to be correct.
Yes.
And so, truly, as cliche as it is, your thoughts become your actions in your lives.
Yeah, your thoughts become your actions. Your actions become your future.
It becomes your reality.
Yeah, your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your future.
In fact, we've got a marketing company. I was having a conversation with Leah, our director of marketing, and we needed to find new ads buyers. She goes, "There's no ads buyers in St. George." I said, "Well, that's not true." She goes, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, I found you." She's like, "Well, I'm it." I'm like, "Well, that can't be true."
Right.
I was like, and even if it is true, what good does it do for us to say there's no one that we can get? Because the only outcome of that is nothing.
Right.
But if we said there are some people we could hire, at least now we have the opportunity. All things are the same regardless of what we say. Just one of them shuts down our beliefs and one of them opens it up. So if you get to choose which one you're going to say, Why don't we just choose the one that gives us opportunity instead of choosing the one that puts us at 0?
Right. And start your day with your affirmations,
Yeah.
with your positive affirmations. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but we've got these thoughts, whether positive or negative. If you speak your thoughts in a positive way, they are multiplied by 10.
Yeah, I don't know the math behind it, but I definitively know if you vocalize it, it's more likely to become true.
And that's positivity. Negativity is multiplied by 70.
Wow.
That's how important it is to not have negative thoughts and not to speak negatively. Like your son or your daughter saying, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Multiplied by 70.
Wow.
Rather than, so they need to say, I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I've got this 7 times to the 1.
Wow. Well, it's interesting too, because even as I think about like my life as an adult and things that are going on, and you have those thoughts of like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. And then it's like, oh, whoa. I can't even think that because just to your point, like just allowing that thought to creep in.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's hard. It's easier said than done, but it's so important to do. So, okay. So get back to the story. So you're in the room, you're eliminating negative people, you're eliminating negative thoughts.
And I went to work. So I surrounded myself with doctors and therapists that thought maybe with the right attitude and effort. And those are 2 things that we have control of the rest of our lives.
Right.
Everybody has control of that. You cannot make me happy or sad. You can't, and I can't make you happy or sad. And that's not my responsibility. It's my responsibility to be the best version of me.
That is so serendipitous because in that same conversation, so with that marketing director, so we had just started a new company and she goes, I'm struggling. I just don't feel like I'm validated. And I said, well, who do you want to validate you? And she goes, well, I don't know. I was like, because you're not an employee anymore. You're an owner. The validation was me saying, let's go into business together. And I'm not gonna keep saying that every day. Like we signed an agreement. I validated you. And I said, when's the last time you came to me and said, hey, Cody, thanks for doing our finances and for getting, all of our receipts in and for sending out our end of month finances. Like you don't do that, nor do I need you to, because I know that I'm good at what I do.
Right.
Just like you do. I said, the problem is you don't yet believe in yourself. And so you're looking for other people to validate you so you can feel good. But none of that matters until you feel good about yourself.
Bro, everybody's got to go to work on themselves. Here, for anybody listening, here you go. Here's your little jewel. Your future self has already taken care of it. Because you think of where for me, for where I'm at today, like all my stresses and struggles and everything, I'm still here. And with the things I was worrying about 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, me of today has taken care of that, or is in the process of taking care of it. And so me in the future has already taken care of all my shit that I'm going through today.
It's such a powerful message because it's true. Whatever worry you have today, tomorrow it's going to be yesterday and you already made it through. Yeah. And even I think back to my life, I was telling my wife, because we just had a big buyout for one of our companies. And I was like, yeah, it's a big risk. I was like, it's probably the biggest risk we've ever taken. She's like, no, it isn't. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, we moved to Houston with a 6-month-old daughter with no guarantee of anything. Like that was infinitely more risky. I was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. But it's like you can lose sight of those things, but you're so right. And that's why it's so important, I think, to be present because nothing else is real anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing other than the moment, than this right here.
That's what I'm saying.
This is, and so stress comes from worrying about what's to come.
Yeah.
And depression comes from living in the past.
Right.
So, and it's harsh, a little harsh, but get over it and get on with it.
It's just the truth.
And stop worrying about the future because your future self has taken care of it. Because you're listening to this right now.
Nor can you do anything about it anyways right now.
Right.
So all you can do is whatever you're doing, do the best that you can at that thing you're doing currently.
Stay present.
Yeah.
Stay present.
That's so important.
So important. Oh my lands. So and we went to work, man. For 15 years went to work, and I regained the ability to walk.
Wow.
With forearm crutches. And with one single point cane. Now, this was impossible. With one single point cane, I walked 40 yards with one freaking cane, man, in my left hand. And that's the best I'd done. And my little girl, who's 25, she's getting married. And what do dads do? And
welcome down the aisle.
You bet your ass. So my little girl and I just practiced. And with forearm crutches, dialed in. Too easy. I put my wheelchair away. And I was walking around town with forearm crutches and with a walker.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the thought was, okay, put your wheelchair away, continue to do these things. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get faster. And I was. and it was slow. We're talking 15 years, man.
Yeah.
It's because some goals take a
Yeah.
long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a good lesson in life right there.
Yeah.
Right, because how many people are trying to do something and they're 3 months in or 9 months in or even 2 years in, they're like, it's not working.
Right.
It's like, oh, you just got to go a little longer, you know,
Right.
because the success is right at the opposite of quitting. Like as soon as you're ready to stop, success is just right around the corner.
Never quit. What is it? 3 feet from gold? Is that what it was? Or the
Oh, yeah. The drilling story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. One of my favorite books.
Me too. If you haven't read that book, go get it.
Yeah.
It's my Bible. So I did that. Things are great. I'm walking. I'm getting stronger. And February 12th of 2001. So my little girl got married September 25th of 2001. So 7 months prior, I get hit head on by a drunk driver.
Wait a minute. So you got in your first wreck in 2006. Was that 2021 then?
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's 2021.
Yeah. And walking again.
You're walking.
You know, and here's the thing. So when I was in therapy, and my body didn't want to go anymore, and it didn't want to do anything. I had to start. So they put me on a sled, you know. So it's like at the gym where you know it's kind of on an incline. And
Yeah.
You do the weights, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the sled at a 0 incline, 0, and I have my feet strapped to the base, and all I'm trying to do is bend my knees up and put my knees down. That's it, with as minimal weight as possible, making it. And that's where we started. And then we'd hook electrodes up to me, and those electrodes would fire my muscles, would make me bend, and mentally I'd be looking and telling my...
Oh, so is it like the electrodes were allowing your brain to reconnect that synapses, like with your body, of like, this is what it's supposed to feel like?
The electrodes were firing the muscle.
Okay.
And then visually, so we're just trying to do anything and everything
Yeah.
to just get muscle movement at first.
Yeah.
15 years. Like I started with 0, like literally 0, and worked it up to where I was walking. So I go back up to Salt Lake, and I walk into this physician's office on the 5th floor, and I'm standing in his doorway with my forearm crutches.
This is the doctor who you
Yeah.
loved, but you hated also.
Yeah, hated this man.
Yeah.
Hated this. Because every time in therapy, I would just think of him. Like, you
Yeah.
can't do this. You
Yeah.
can't do this. And I'm standing there, and I say, hey, do you remember me? And he says, Matt Blanchard, right? And I'm like, yeah, because it'd been a long time.
Yeah.
And he said, what can I help you with? And I said, you told me I would never do this. He's like, well, what's that? I said, you told me I'd never walk. He said, you're not. You're using assisted devices. And he got up and walked by me. And I went down to my car and cried. So now I'm probably 37 or 38 years old.
What an asshole.
Dude, right? But homeboy knew me.
Yeah.
So I love him. I love
Yeah.
him today because he knew what to say. And I'm sure he's different with all patients.
Of course,
But he
yeah.
said exactly what I needed to hear. And how often...
Because he challenged you to move further.
And so I went home and worked harder.
Yeah.
Because this a-hole was not going to be
Yeah.
right. I'm right, not him.
Have you ever asked him if he was doing that intentionally?
I've never had the chance to get down. I would like to.
You know? Because he's either an asshole or he's a great man.
Right. And I believe he's a great man.
Yeah.
Because I choose to believe that now.
Yeah, sure.
But at the time,
Yeah.
like to my core, hatred of this guy.
Yeah.
So without him even being in therapies, he pushed me hard.
Right.
He's pushing me every
Yeah.
single day. So I love this guy. I love
Yeah.
him. And how often in life does coach get after one of our kids or our kid doesn't make the team or gets cut and then what, we give up?
Yeah.
What? That's an opportunity. Obstacles into opportunities, man.
That's why when I coach my kids' sports, the city leagues don't keep score, but I do. Because it's like, you guys got to know if you won or lost.
Right.
Otherwise, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, there are consequences to the things that we do, good or bad.
I didn't know the city leagues don't keep...
Some of them don't. Like basketball does, but like football, there's no keeping score. Soccer, because there's no way to do it. Like basketball, you've got the...
Right, the score clock
yeah.
and that.
But out in the football field, what are they going to do? But so I keep it,
So many people, it's hard. Did anybody come into this life thinking it's going to be easy?
Right.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
And the way everybody's feeling right now, that's what hard feels like. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel that way. What's not okay is to quit.
Yep.
It's okay to fail.
Oh, absolutely. It's imperative to succeed.
Right? And okay, so here's the thing. Winning has no value. Zero value. Think about that. If all you do is win, all you've ever done is won.
Yeah, then it's just an average day.
You have to fail.
Yeah.
You have to feel, you have to be in the depths. You to appreciate
Absolutely.
the victory.
Yeah.
So the joy
Yeah, I totally agree.
Is in the challenge.
I remember when my sales guys would have a bad day and they'd call and it's like, oh, I'm really sorry. You know, I said, dude, how are you ever going to appreciate a good sales day if you don't have a bad one? Like,
facts.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
this,
facts.
it's a part of the process. Today sucks.
Yeah.
Be better tomorrow.
You know what? And I love the days that suck. I am being completely honest right now. I love the days that suck because I know better days are coming.
Yeah.
And so I lean in to the suckiness.
I think the thing I've learned in adulthood, one of the things that I didn't understand when I was younger is I thought I was like climbing up a mountain to a tip and then I got to live at the tip, you know?
Oh.
But you don't.
No.
It's like there's lots of tips,
Dude.
you know, which means there's lots of valleys and you got to experience all of it. You know, it's not a steady climb to the top because the top always changes.
Right. Always changing.
And so does the valley.
Always.
You know, my lows are not as low as the lows used to be.
Right.
But they're the lows now.
Right. And you know, the challenges that people are going through are preparing them for the challenge, more challenges to come. Because if you want it, that's the way this existence is made up.
Yeah.
We learn the most through pain and suffering.
Absolutely.
So if you are in pain right now, good, because you are growing, you're learning.
Yeah.
If you're not, then find a way to get uncomfortable.
I used to tell, and I'll tell everyone this really, but specifically in sales, I said the goal every day should be to be uncomfortable. Because if you're in a sales pitch and you know, like, oh, I'm supposed to sell this thing or I need to ask for the sale, but you just don't because it's uncomfortable, it's easier to just say, like, well, let me know what you think, you know, versus like, well, let's get started.
Right.
Right. And so it's like every day be uncomfortable, no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be sales. It can be anything. Right. Even if you go to the gym, if you went to the gym and it was never hard, you didn't get any stronger.
Right. Right. And this is a fact too. So people who are in sales or you're going to a job interview or something like that, the person that's interviewing you is just a person.
Yeah.
They're going home to a wife that they fight with. They're going home to kids, dogs, cats,
Credit card debt,
and credit card, all the things, man.
Yeah.
Maybe their life is a little more disorganized than yours even. So just go in and sell yourself. That's what you're doing.
We're right around Christmas, right? So there's a bunch of holiday parties.
Yeah.
So you can go to a holiday party and feel like, oh my God, I'm just this weird person. Like, I don't know how to talk. Everyone feels the same way.
Right.
So just be the person who goes up and starts having a conversation. Not only will you feel better, but so will the person you're talking to, because they're going to be so thankful that they're not standing in a corner by themselves.
Go be weird, man.
Yeah. Be uncomfortable. Your life will be better.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Okay, so hold on. You kind of just brushed over something.
Yeah.
That seemed to be paramountly important. So you're getting ready for your daughter's wedding.
Yep.
And then you get into another accident.
Yeah, dude, we're dialed in though, too. I mean, we're walking down the aisle with forearm crutches. We've done it with single point canes, and sometimes I would trip her up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "No, Dad, I want you to use the forearm crutches." She wanted the day to be all about her for some reason.
Yeah, selfish.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, fine, Space. I'll do the forearm crutches. And yeah, this drunk driver, she crosses the median.
And you haven't had the wedding yet. You've just been preparing for it.
Preparing for it. And we had the daddy-daughter dance dialed in, right? It was one cane.
Yeah.
And I was able to twirl her. And, bro, you know.
That's really cool.
Dude, so cool. Because that was one of the driving forces through therapy, too. My little girl's getting married. I mean, she was only 10 at the time.
But you knew, inevitably, at some point, I want to walk her down the aisle.
I'm walking her down the aisle. That was one of my goals. So this drunk driver hits me head on. I was at 80 miles an hour, cruise controlled, and this drunk driver hits me head on. So it was a 120-mile impact.
So this is on the freeway then?
Mm-hmm. On I-15.
And were they going down the wrong side of the freeway?
So she had been cruising in and out of traffic going northbound. I was heading southbound. And she clipped one of the cars coming into the fast lane.
Okay.
And it sent her through the median and up into me.
What part of I-15 was this on?
This was just short of Mesquite, Nevada.
Okay.
Just short. So I was through the gorge.
Yeah.
And I could see the first Eureka, the Eureka exit right there. and it cracked me head on. Didn't know. I had no idea what had hit me. It was late at night. It was dark, but my dash cam recorded the whole doggone thing.
Yeah, so that's what's so interesting about this whole story is in preparing for your podcast, I saw the dash cam thing.
Crazy.
So I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Then you told this other story.
Yeah.
I'm thinking all along you're in a wheelchair because of that dash cam story.
No. Yeah. Totally different story. Dude, I am the only person on the planet
Oh my God.
that has been in 2 car accidents that has paralyzed me twice. Come from my car twice.
Man, if you were mad at God the first time, I would be so angry.
Here's the crazy thing. Oh man, here we go. So as soon as she hits me, I'm paralyzed again. So I suffered a L4 compression.
And you're by yourself?
I'm all by myself. I'm in my truck. So she went when she went through the median. She
How were you
like
driving? Did you have to do the gas with your hands?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've got hand controls and all that stuff. And so I'm sitting there in my truck, and my left leg is snapped in two and bones sticking out, and
You couldn't feel it, but you could see it.
right. Well, and I could feel. So I was down by the gas and the brake pedal. They'd pushed me down in there, and the engine was kind of pushed up into the passenger seat, and the whole dash, everything. And
This is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
oh, bro, it's insane.
If they made a movie about this, Hollywood would be like, "That's bullshit. That doesn't
Right?
happen twice."
And I'm so grateful that I have all this footage to show. Hey, yeah, this is a real thing.
Yeah, the fact that I remember a friend of mine, like, he's a techie guy, and so he had a dash cam like, a decade ago, and I was like, "That's weird. Why do you have that?" He's like, "It's good to have," and I was like, "Huh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
And then, but here you like, now
I
you
would
have
recommend it to anybody. I really would for any type of accident or
Yeah,
anybody trying
right.
to
No,
do
there's
anything.
a lot of positives to it. It's
Oh.
a really good thing to have.
Yeah. So my right leg I broke, and it was kind of so I broke my femur on the right leg.
That's the biggest bone in our body. Is
Yeah,
the
biggest
femur,
bone.
right? Yeah.
And so my right leg was kind of kicked over. So I grabbed that bad boy and bring it over. And this is how annoyingly positive I am. But I've trained myself to be this positive.
Yeah, you got to work at it.
Is I looked down at my body, like you said, and I was so grateful
You couldn't feel
that
it.
I couldn't feel any of that, bro. Seriously.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, I am so glad I'm paralyzed right now. So glad.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
What happened to the person driving?
Yeah, they were cut in two.
They passed away.
Yeah, they didn't make it, and it was really unfortunate. If you go onto my Instagram, you can see the accident. You can see so it was a Chrysler 300 that had hit me, and when she went through the median, she went through a cactus and bushes. It took out her front headlights, and late at night.
Oh, so that's why it was like a huge surprise because they had no warning of it coming.
And so many people, when I put that on, it got like 150,000 views and comments and all these things.
Yeah.
And like, what was that? And yeah, that was a Chrysler 300, but you can't even tell what it is.
It's so scary too, thinking because that's just life. Like you were just driving to Mesquite or wherever you were headed. You know what I mean? Like you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just on the road like any other person. And that's why you have to and that's really when you realize how foolish stress about the future is.
Yes.
Because you're acting as if it's guaranteed and it isn't.
So you bring up that. So at that point in my life, I was atheist.
Oh, okay. So you did really hate God.
Yeah. Well, no, there just wasn't.
You just didn't believe
There just
him.
wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
There wasn't.
Yeah.
We're just here going through the motions and stuff. And I was doing good things. Okay?
Was that challenging to have a religion be such a part of your life to then go to not even just a different religion, but to say that all of that was none of it was real.
Yeah.
Because atheists, you're saying not even a piece of it is real.
No. Yeah. None of it. None of it's real. None of it's real. Yeah. And that's where the point I was in that second accident. And I was doing really good things. I was speaking. I wasn't really all in on speaking, but I was speaking.
What did your wife and kids think? Did they
bro.
keep their beliefs independent of you, or did what you believe kind of pull them that way?
Yeah, what I believed pulled them that way. My wife kind of exited the LDS religion before I did.
Okay.
And because it was such a huge part of my life, and my belief system and things like that. And so going through life and going through the challenges of paralysis, I had lost my faith. And in that second accident, I experienced some things. So on my dash cam footage, there's 3 seconds of absolute silence. It's weird. Like there's nothing.
I think I actually remember that. And I thought like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, did the audio just go out or something?
Right.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, I buffered or like something was wrong with what I was watching because I remember that.
And in that 3 seconds I experienced, there is a God. There's no question. I don't even have faith of that anymore. And what's coming next, what's after this experience is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Did you have that knowing in that moment in your vehicle?
Yeah. Yes. Well, but it's hard to explain. Boy, this is the first time I've talked about this too. So you and I, instead of having a podcast like this where we're communicating, we interact. So your energy and my energy would just we would just interact, and you will have an absolute perfect understanding of paralysis and what I've gone through, my triumphs and my challenges. And if you, whatever I want to share with you, and whatever you want to share with me, I will have a perfect understanding. There's no more language. There's no more emotion. There's no more misunderstandings anymore. We just interact. And what's coming next is I looked forward to with great anticipation. I'm not in a hurry to get there, okay? But it's amazing. It's warm. It's vibrant. It's amazing. See, this is why I need to write a book.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is I can't even telling you. I've told my wife this and my kids this, and it's mine. You know, I wish I could share that.
Yeah, right.
And they would be like, "Oh, all right." This existence.
Well,
right,
that's
okay.
what makes it so intriguing, right? Is that there's no way to validate it in the way that we as conscious human beings want it to be validated.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you just can't.
So
That's why it's called faith.
Yeah. You know, and so we wonder why we can't remember what was before, right? And we're going on a different tangent right now. But if you're under the belief that we always have been and we always will be, like now I'm talking scientifically now.
Yeah.
Let's get away from religion.
Yeah.
And matter cannot be created or destroyed. It's always been, and it will be. So, but I mean, wood can be burnt, but it's still going to come down to carbon.
Yeah.
And things like that. So if we always have been and we always will be, when we came to this existence, we have eons of information. Eons.
So then do you believe that you've had other lives that isn't this life?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
And here's a question for you. Are those lives happening previous, or is it all on one thing? Like, is your previous lives also happening while this life is happening, or did it actually, in fact, happen in a time that was before this time?
So I have to answer with the knowledge of this existence and the parameters of this existence. So how you've asked that question, it would have to be before, because everything is about time in this existence. You know, so to have it be an understanding, there is.
So you think time is linear?
In this existence, it is. But check this out. Here it is, right here, bro. It's spherical. So when in those 3 seconds, it's not linear. It's spherical. It's so hard to explain because there aren't words.
Yeah, right. That's exactly
to
right.
explain
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
So, but so for everybody else to understand, linear. So did I have lives? They would have been before, because I'm here where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
But it's not that way. It's spherical. It's not linear. It's spherical.
Interesting. That's the first I've heard that.
Yeah.
Spherical. So, okay. So I got to know so the engine's sitting next to you.
Yeah.
You can see the legs coming out of your body up, and your first thought is like, glad I can't feel it, which is awesome.
Yep.
But then what? Like, did you have the wits about you to call, or did like,
Yeah.
Because if your legs are broken, you could have still died even though you couldn't feel it because of blood loss.
Because
so you're still in trouble.
Yeah. I'm bleeding out of my left leg. So the bones I had compound fractures.
Did you think at any point, like, I know you said that you shared that positive thought, but did you think at all, like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, bro. Yeah.
How is, like, this is, like, how?
No way. There is no way this just happened. I literally over and over on the dash cam that's still recording. There, no way.
And what's your main emotion? Are you angry? Are you scared?
I'm in disbelief.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's no way. Because as I tried to push
You just
myself,
worked for 15 years to
and it was all gone.
instant. Yeah, of course.
So I'm paralyzed again. I can't, because I tried to push down through my legs to get back up onto the seat. Because the seatbelt the seatbelt is what caused the fracture. So I don't know if people know this or not either, but wear your damn seatbelts. But if you hit something hard enough, it's most commonly the L4 vertebrae. Your seatbelt will fracture that because of the pressure of the seatbelt.
Interesting.
Yeah. But much better to have that happen than be dead.
The others, yeah, the alternative.
So sitting there in the truck, and I'm just no way, over and over and over, no way. So you ask about my wife and kids. So my phone, it had fallen down where my feet were, and so I reached down and grabbed my phone and I called my wife, and when the accident happened, I was on the phone with one of my buddies, and we lost the call.
Yeah.
And he called my wife and said, "Hey, something's happened." And so I called my wife, and
I could imagine for her.
Oh, bro,
because she's got to be. I mean, what's going through her mind at that moment? It would just be utter disbelief.
So if you can picture this, so we hit head on, and my truck was sideways on the slow lane, and her car was kind of over here like this on the fast lane, and there were two semi trucks that had stopped, and now you've got a line of cars all the way back to the gorge, and Life Flight had come and landed on the other side of the accident and turned off the rotors because we had to both get cut out of our cars, and so my wife is coming down the canyon with my oldest son to get me.
Yeah,
and they get down, they get on the shoulder, and they're just hauling ass down the shoulder. They get to where these semi-trucks have stopped, and the cops and paramedics stop her. And she gets out of the car, and that's my husband. And at this point, they had transferred me, they'd cut me out of my truck, transferred me onto a gurney, and were putting me in the helicopter. And so she is 40 yards from me.
Yeah.
Yelling. But now the helicopter, the rotors are going and everything, and I can't hear her. And they're loading me into the helicopter and shutting the door. And she has to get back in the car with my son.
Oh, my God.
And go all the way back.
Could you go back to the LDS hospital?
Yeah. And there's so much to this story.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're all...
I know, right? So, yeah.
It's like there's so much, and we haven't even talked about philosophy or thoughts yet. It's just really been a story. We've hit a couple pieces, but it's like...
See,
there's going to have to be a part 2.
Yeah, let's do that part 2. Through my backtracking, through my therapies, I was hurting. I'd hurt a lot.
Was it, and when you say therapies, do you mean only physical, or also, did you do any emotional therapy, like talk therapy?
I never have.
Wow,
Even
interesting.
to this second, I haven't.
That's amazing.
Other than speaking to my friends and my wife.
Yeah,
things,
but no wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I developed, I'd become dependent on pain medication. Now, listen to how I said that.
Yeah, you phrased that in a strategic manner.
Yeah. So I'm not an addict. I'm not a recovering addict. I was dependent on pain medication. I went through addiction, but I won't carry the label of an addict or a recovering addict. I just won't do it. Depression. I'm not depressed. I went through depression, but I'm not depressed.
So when you say, just trying to understand that for myself, when you say that you were dependent on it because of the pain or because of the desire for the drug?
Both. Okay, so I had the best excuse in the world.
Of course. Right. No one's going to look at you sideways for taking an oxy when your half your body doesn't work.
There you go.
And like you're actually why the drug exists.
Yeah, rods, screws, plates, baskets, all the stuff. And so
and let me ask, so because you were LDS growing up, that's probably your first time ever feeling an altered state.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I love that altered state.
Yeah.
Like right this
second. There's a reason that people love it so much, right?
If drug addicts, if or people who are dependent on drugs, any type of drug, I don't care what it is, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because if it didn't, like if you took it and it made you throw up every time or made you sick, then you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But it makes you feel good and it lets you check out.
And I wonder if it is more dangerous for you being that you hadn't had any vices. So then it was like your first time.
That's my jam. Even to this second, that's my jam, man.
Yeah.
So
do you still use them?
No. So at the peak of my use, I was taking 480 pills every 2 weeks.
Holy shit!
But that was over 15 years though. Okay?
Yeah.
So I just developed this tolerance. I mean, I'd done the patches, I'd done everything, morphine. I'd done you name it.
What was the drug that you enjoyed the most?
Oxys, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you. I was
laugh.
Doing Oxy 80. I was doing Oxy 80 3 times a day.
Wow.
And then 25 Roxys. So
what's a Roxy?
Okay, a Roxy is opiate without the Tylenol in it. So it's Percocet without the Tylenol.
Okay.
Because I was taking so much that it was damaging my kidneys. The Tylenol was.
Oh, yeah.
And so we moved to Roxy's. Roxycontin is what it's called. Roxycontin. So I was doing Oxycontin for my long-term pain, and I was doing Roxy's for my short-term pain, my breakthrough pain through therapies. And I started using my pain medication to deal with my emotional pain.
Yeah.
Not my physical pain.
Yeah.
And how many people self-medicate for emotional pain?
Most of America.
Right. And did you know that America consumes 90% of the world's opiate? 90.
Oh, it's because it's money.
Oh, bro.
Right, because you're talking about it.
Big
You're talking
pharma.
about yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could get into that whole political thing too.
The
Pharma's running the
of course,
the country.
Yeah, I mean, look, like 80% of commercials are pharma.
Yeah,
you know, and so like that's why certain people on TV can't say things they want to say because the money comes from the big pharma, you know. And even like the family that created OxyContin, I think they had to pay $6 billion, but it's like I will pay $6 billion.
Right.
Always to make billions in perpetuity.
Right.
Like that doesn't even, if we made it like our terms, if I had to give you $6, but you gave me 20,
right,
I'll do that with you every day.
All day.
You know? So it's like, that's not an incentive to not do what they did,
right.
You know? And it's a scary story too, because like someone like yourself, you were on it for the right reasons.
Right.
But it's so powerful.
Right.
That.
Oh, it's so powerful, man. It's, like I am in a non-arrogant way, I am the most mentally strong person that I know.
Well, yeah, the fact that you didn't have to go through any mental therapy, considering the travesty that you experienced, is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, boy, we're going in a lot of different directions. When I first got hurt, I tried to destroy my marriage, like said everything that I could to destroy it because I didn't want my wife married to a cripple.
It's like you wanted to give her a reason to leave.
Amen.
So she didn't have to stick with you.
Because she's going to leave anyway.
That's what you thought.
Yeah. She's going to leave. I'm not 6'2", 215. This guy.
And you'd rather be on your terms. Like
nothing works below the waist.
Yeah.
I'm not a man. I didn't know what I was. I truly didn't. Yeah. And so every mean thing I said to get her to leave me, and with tears coming down her face, she told me she wasn't in love with my legs, and that she loved me, and she wasn't going anywhere. And she turned around with we had a marker, and on the mirror, and I still have it there today, she wrote, "What kind of day will it be today? You decide."
Oh, I love that.
And she left the room, and boy, man, it was rough. A lot of crying, and I still cry today.
Did you cry before the accident?
Never, because men don't cry.
Yeah, right.
And especially Blanchards don't cry. You know,
my dad will get a kick out of me telling this story, but I broke my collarbone and I was in going into 7th grade. I, for whatever reason, thought I could ride a skateboard down this. I had to go get frosting at the grocery store for my mom. And this was the time when like kids could go on a journey by themselves, you know?
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, it's about 2 miles. I'll take my skateboard. It'll be faster. And there was this massive, massive hill in this town I grew up in. Like on a bike, you could get going 35, 40 miles an hour down this hill, right? So I got on the skateboard. I jumped off. It was like, oh, that's fine. If I go too fast, I'll jump off. It'll be fine. I didn't understand gravity. So then I got going too fast, jump off. Gravity just hurls me down the thing. I walk all the way to Albertsons. I walk all the way back home. And I'm like, my shoulder hurts bad. And so but my dad's like, you're fine. Puts me in like a towel, like makes a little sling, you know, and it's my sister's birthday. She's turning 3, I think. And I go to pick up our dog, like while she's opening presents, and I'm like, oh, and my dad's like, knock it off. You're fine. You know, like, whoa. Right. Turns out we went to get my physical for football. My collarbone was broken. And he's like, oh, you broke it multiple times. And I could remember every time because I never got it fixed.
Yeah.
And so I was just treating life as it was, you know? But yeah, so I tell that story. He always gets a kick out of that. But it's true. And it's sad because we shouldn't teach our boys that because it isn't strength, it's weakness.
Amen.
You know? And so, and I'm not opposed to it, but even my son will say in fact, he just asked me, my son's 7, he said, do you not cry? And I said, no, I cry. I've cried. And he's like, well, and he was asking me all these questions, and I told him that story of my collarbone. And I said, you know, I didn't cry until I got home and saw my mom, and then I cried.
You know, there's a gentleman who lost his wife, and I was talking with him, and he bitter angry about losing his wife because they were so close to retirement. And the day of her retirement, she ended up contracting cancer, and she ended up passing away in 3 months.
Oh, geez.
And he's telling me the story in this men's group, and he doesn't cry, you know, but he's broken. He's broken.
Yeah.
And I challenged him to cry. Show your kids. He's like, I'm still going to work. I'm, you know, like doing daily
well,
things.
and we wear it as a badge of honor. We think that,
right.
Like,
and so what is? I asked him, what are your kids thinking? You think? Do you think they're thinking, well, Dad's a badass, or do you think they're thinking, I wonder if Dad even cared about Mom?
Yeah.
So, men crying is powerful. Men being vulnerable is powerful.
Yeah.
Gentle is strong.
Yeah.
And like the badass that he's, I want everybody to know, if you're that badass that doesn't cry and gets up and wipes dirt on it, and you're not viewed as a badass, man. You're just not.
You're viewed as like emotionally unhinged.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not in tune.
So show your kids you're freaking human.
Yeah.
And that you have feelings too, and you care. Like if you cry, if a man cries, they freaking care about whatever that is.
Yeah.
And that's
what makes it powerful, because it's rare.
Yeah.
Right. And even there's times my son, like I can tell he needs to cry, but he won't because I'm there, and I've never even told him. Like I'm not even perpetuating that stigma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he won't do it. And I know like he needs it. Like if he's having a rough night, I know like he's got to get these tears out or he's not gonna be able to go to bed.
Right.
You know? And so it's like sometimes I have to like push him to the place where he'll finally let that emotion out, and then I got to leave, and then because he will only really do that with my wife. But it's like I gotta get him there,
right?
Almost in an unproductive way, but to allow him to feel like, okay, I can have that release because I know when he needs it.
Right.
Like, you can see it on his face, like,
and it's a pressure release, right?
That's exactly what it is. The body does it for a reason,
right?
Everything our body does is by design.
And I did a disservice to my kids, but by raising them that way.
Yeah.
And then to see me go through what I went through and not cry through that. I mean, it's only been, last maybe 5 years that I've cried. And this is what a disservice is. I've seen my oldest son, who's 27, cry one time.
Yeah.
My youngest son, 23, I've never seen him cry, ever. And yeah. And then my little girl, I've seen cry maybe a handful of times. It's okay, man. Like you can see, I get talking about my family. I'm very passionate about my family. They're my everything. And dads, you're doing a disservice to your children by telling them not to cry. You're allowed to have emotions, and it hurts, and it whatever.
I think it's good you said about your daughter too, because I think we get stuck in thinking that we only tell men that they can't cry, but their daughters see it too.
Oh yeah,
you know.
And my daughter, and I have to tell my kids it's okay, and my daughter's accepted it.
Isn't it interesting that they've been so programmed through your behavior through that time that even though now you're obviously willing and able, but yet you still haven't seen it? Is it, so you said in the last 5 years, so is it since that second accident then? And so it is when you found, so what do you call your belief? Like, who is it that you believe in? Is it God? Is that the word you use?
Me.
You.
Me. I believe in me. I believe in you. I believe in us. Boy.
Do you have a vernacular for that source?
I really don't. I'm accountable to my wife. Here it is. We want to talk about beliefs, and I'm accountable to my wife. So if I want to do, let's say I wanted to take opiates again.
Yeah.
And if my wife said, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
Babe, I really want to do this. And she says, yeah. You go, okay, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That's a bad example because I would never do that. But X, I want to go do X.
Yeah.
And if my wife says no, then that's not happening.
Yeah.
But if my wife says yes, then all right, let's do this. And it's the same with her. And I'm not accountable. Boy, here it is, bro. And I don't know what type of listeners you got, but here it is. I'm trying to be a better person every day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fail every day. And I look forward to failure.
Yeah.
Because I fail forward. I learn from that failure and I tweak something and I go again. And if I'm going to be judged because of my failures, what failures? What do I need to be redeemed for?
Well, Nelson Mandela said he didn't lose. He either won or he learned.
Yeah. It's a fact. That's brilliant. Dude, and Nelson Mandela is the man.
He's been 30 years in prison for doing nothing.
And then getting out and
becoming the president.
With apartheid and all that. And then having a white vice president. And that guy's, he's a good dude. So I
really love that. So your beliefs are built around you as an individual and your life versus like the big universe of it all.
Right. Me becoming the best person that I can possibly be. This existence is all about learning. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself that you can. And
so when you had that 3 seconds of silence in the car, do you believe that was some bigger energy that was like
100%. So God made this planet. Okay, God, He literally controls everything. Literally, He made this thing.
Yeah,
everything, the rocks, everything. So why doesn't He stop things? He has before, and it didn't work out very well. So He knows what works. He's been doing this for eons.
Yeah, right.
For eons.
That's a good way to think of it.
So why, when you pray, why does God not stop your whatever? He has before, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
Either hasn't worked out for you or for the planet, His creation.
Yeah.
So, I'm accountable to my wife. I'm trying to be the best person that I can be. I'm going to fail, and I'll be a better person tomorrow than yesterday. And today I'm doing that. Yesterday, I struggled, with my marriage with my wife.
Yeah,
but we've been married 29 years, and she is helping me and loves me. And
there's something about when you have that trust, like with a partner. So I've been with my wife for 17 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And when you have that relationship, then the struggles aren't like, oh, it could be it. Right. Because when like we're going to be together no matter what, then it's like, if you're off today or she's off, it's like, there is that thought process of like, oh, is this going to work? It doesn't even exist.
Right.
It's just like, you're off, I'm off, we'll figure it out. You know, and when you believe in that, then all the other stuff doesn't matter.
Find your person.
Yeah.
And find your people and go to work. That's where and your work is going to be the people you surround yourself with. So it's not a cliche. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to go change the world, then find other people that have the same drive and the same, because that's what I'm doing. And if you want to be a millionaire, then go surround yourself with millionaires.
Yeah.
If you're billionaire, if you're motivated by money,
whatever it is you're after, find the people after the same thing.
Yeah. Go and go to work. Go to work. Addicts hang around addicts, man. Losers hang around losers.
So I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to be cautious of your time. We're going to do a part 2 though. So if you're listening and you're like, fuck, I feel like there's more to the story, we'll do a part 2. We'll schedule it after this. But to wrap up a couple things from today is, with your addiction, when did you realize you were an addict? And did you realize it on your own, or did your wife have to come to you and say like, Matt, we got a problem?
Okay. My wife never did. My brother-in-law did. He's like, yo, you're abusing. And he's on point with things. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to get off of them. And so I tried to get off those meds by myself. And the longest I made it was 18 hours. Now, there's a whole story that goes along with the addiction thing that we'll hit next time. Okay. Because it's powerful. Yeah. I think it's a really important thing to talk about. And so I made it 18 hours one time, and then I had to have them. I mean, physically had to have them. My body needed those damn things. Yeah. Know? And when I went off,
how did you ever get to a place that you didn't need them anymore?
I went cold turkey. My little girl. So my little girl, I got done with therapy one day, and my regimen every morning. Here we go. We're going into it. So my regimen, or you wanted, or
now we're here. Let's do it.
All right. So So my regimen every morning, I wake up, take my Oxy, take my Roxys, and wait for those to sink in. And and anybody who's ever taken pain medication, it's just like, oh, there it is. And so now I could face the day of paralysis and go to therapy, things like that. I'd go to therapy. Right after therapy, I would take another Oxy, another 5 Roxys. Now, because my body needed that, I had built up this tolerance. And everybody listens like, what the hell? Yeah, I was 390 milligrams a day of opiate. Wow. The highest that my physician has ever seen. Wow. So get done with therapy. Take they kick in, and my little girl, who is 12, asks, and now I'm in the front seat. My wife's driving. She says, "Hey, Mom, what are all those pills that Dad takes? Are they really going to kill him?" And for whatever reason, it hit. I was like, "You have got a problem, and your kids now you're going to have all these pills around the house that your kids are already curious about and what they do, right? And you're checked out all the time, all of the time." So I called up my doctor.
And it's natural for your kids, if they see you doing this, to be like, oh, I wonder. Yeah. Right? Like that's not a stretch to think that they would, that they'd want to experience what you're experiencing.
Yeah, your kids watch, everybody's kids watching. You get home from work and you crack a beer, bet your kids don't do that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We're our kids' idols. Yeah. Let's hope we are anyway, and heroes.
And I even try to drink when my kids go to sleep if I drink, Yeah. But they go on vacation, so my son walks up to the bar in Mexico. He's 7. He's like, I want a Jameson and a Tecate Light. And it's like, fuck. Damn it.
So awesome. Yeah. You know what? But I think it's important, too, to show them responsible drinking.
No, it is. It's funny. I told him, he goes, Dad, where's the place he's 7, mind you. Yeah. Loves questions. It's his identity. He says, Dad, where's the youngest you can drink? And I said, well, I think in Germany, I think you can drink at any age if your parents approve. And he goes, can we go to Germany?
Yeah. Dude, China, the same. I went over to China for stem cells, and you can get beers out of a vending machine in China.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. So yeah, but the funniest part was that we're in Mexico celebrating Thanksgiving. I say, I think in Germany you could drink in Germany, and he goes, I want to go to Germany. And it's like, God, I laugh, but it's like I got to make sure I fix that because I already can see, because he loves to drink whatever it is. Yeah. Water, tea, coffee. If there's something that someone's drinking, he wants to experience that. So I consciously know, okay, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Right. How funny. Yeah. So and here's the thing, teaching your kids drinking, me and my kids, we drink, we party together, man. Yeah, we do, because I would much rather have my kid get blackout drunk with me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because whenever you see someone who's so restrictive, it's always those kids who go so far to the other side, because it's like they just, they don't have healthy parameters. So they don't even know, like, oh no, you can't drink that much.
Right.
So that's when they get themselves in trouble. So your daughter's 12. She says, "What are these pills?" You go to your doctor and
he says, I'm on the phone with my doctor, and I'm like, hey, I'm going off all these pills. I've been lying to you. I've been using these for emotional pain. I'm done doing these. And he said, look, Matt, you're on 390 milligrams a day. We're going to need to get you on Suboxone or methadone to deal with your withdrawals.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's Suboxone? What's methadone? And he said, well, we use these for heroin addicts. So when they're coming off, and I said, hey, I'm not a heroin addict. I'm going cold turkey, having no idea.
Yeah, your body physically couldn't do that, right?
What was coming.
Yeah.
Right. So I made that decision, and he's like, okay. But he came to my house every single day. My physician, his name is Dr. Stephen Clark, and he is the best. He saved my life many times. Anyway, so my dad took a leave of absence from work. My brother came up from California, and what they did, if you go to a detox center, they put you in a padded room and let you freak out and whatever. They took my wheelchair away from me. So I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. So another time where I was like, in the moment, I was like, you a-holes.
Yeah.
Those are my legs. Yeah, what the hell?
You hated them.
Not realizing paralysis is serving me again.
Yeah.
So detoxed, didn't sleep for 3 days, going crazy. Feel like there's bugs under your skin. I pulled out hair. I still you can still see some scars where I like going crazy. There's that commercial, and you might be too young for this, but growing up where they take a frying pan, put it on the stove, and get it piping hot. Yeah. And then they've got the egg.
Mm-hmm, I remember that.
And they say, hey, this is your brain.
This is your brain on
drugs.
Brain on
drugs. And it's
yeah.
No, that's your brain coming off of drugs. And that dude. Yeah, they should have changed that commercial, man. They should have. Because when your brain's on drugs, you're like, yeah,
right.
Yeah, all right. But that's your brain coming off of drugs.
That's so funny. It's so good.
So
how long was that process?
7 days of absolute hell. Of physical.
Yeah.
Like puking.
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
Real withdrawals.
Oh, bro. Oh. If anyone who has not experienced narcotic withdrawal, it's the most hellacious thing on the planet.
So what would your advice be to someone else who's in a situation where they also need the drugs like you did? They actually need them. Like, would you take the drugs again because you needed them, or like knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in regards to the opioids?
If I wrote the book, if they were my rules,
yeah,
no one would leave the hospital with opiates.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
I'm in pain right now. Right this very second, I'm in pain. I have neuropathy. From my nerves being damaged. It feels like my butt and my legs feel like your arms asleep, and when it's coming out, and it's just that ouch.
Yeah.
All the time.
You just live with it.
Well, your brain is absolutely amazing. So now, if you were to touch me below the waist, I could tell you you're touching me. You're touching, and I can tell you where you're touching me. Because it spikes, and what used to be pain, which my body it used to interpret as pain, now interprets as touch. So, if you're on medication for your pain, dulling your pain for maybe it's neuropathy, maybe whatever it is, you're not giving your brain the opportunity to change that.
Right.
So now I'm paralyzed below the waist, and if you touch me, or let's say I can tell something's different, something's changed. So in the beginning, if my foot fell off the footrest and I was going down the street, bloody mess, because I couldn't feel that because I'm medicated.
Yeah.
Now today, if it fell off of I would instantly know something's different
because you're present.
Yep. Because I'm present.
Yeah.
And so. The people that need medication, I just don't believe in it.
Wow.
I believe there's a time and a place for it for an acute injury or an acute pain. So meaning right now so I'm clean for 8 years, and then I get in that second accident.
Yeah.
And as I'm being life flight, they say, hey, we're gonna push Dilaudid because you're busted up. And as soon as they pushed that, it was that the if you want to call it the devil, just like there you are.
Gotcha.
Yep, and got me instantly. Got me. So I'm busted up and I'm in the hospital.
Especially for you, where you've lost some of what your pre-accident joy was, right? And like some of that joy you can never get back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but now here's a joy you can have.
Yeah. And it's a joy that just steals time, steals relation, steals. It just takes. It's a taker.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's a taker of pain. Okay. All right. Your pain's gone, but so is your joy.
Yeah. Right.
Like you just, bro.
Yeah.
Pain medication dulls everything.
Well, I had a friend who, it wasn't pain, it was Adderall, but he like couldn't be happy without it. But he wasn't even happy on it. It was just that he didn't realize he wasn't happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, and basically just being nothing was better than being unhappy or angry.
Yeah. Oh my lands, man. So they push the Demerol, and then I have to go through all these surgeries. My right foot was just busted up. It all just busted up. My left leg, I had to have an external fixator put on it because it was in so many pieces.
Oh my God.
And then my back is broken again. So I'm in my hospital room, and I've got the morphine clicker, and every 12 minutes, and you bet your ass every 12 minutes I was hitting that button.
Oh yeah.
You counting the time, because man, my it just, oh, there it is, man, there it is. But at this point, I had surrounded myself with people who knew I didn't want to be an addict.
Yeah.
And knew that I had a problem. And so I left that hospital on no pain medication. And
Wow.
busted up. Like that.
How long were you in the hospital the second time?
Little over, I want to say 2 months maybe. Because I had to learn how to sit up again, roll over again, get dressed again.
Oh my God.
Bro, I had to do all the things again. But I'd already done it once, so it
you
wasn't
knew,
scary.
yeah,
I was just like,
right.
hey, let's go.
Yeah, you knew the process.
I got this.
Okay, well let's end it there. We're gonna do a part 2. They'll tell that second story. I can't believe we could have just gone for hours.
Forever, man.
We could have done an 8-hour. It would have been an easy Joe Rogan 3 hours.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Yeah, too easy.
You
but
guys were flowing, man.
no, flowing. I feel bad because we ran so long. But so to the people listening, if you're like, God damn, I want to hear the rest of it, you will, I promise. But for the interim between when this episode comes out and when we do part 2, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Please go to my social media. Okay.
And do you have a preference?
No. So
okay.
either on Instagram at Matty Blanch 3,
Okay.
or just search me up, Matt Blanchard.
Okay.
Or on Facebook at Matt Blanchard, or my nonprofit Today's First Step. And then I'm on TikTok as Matty Blanch 03. Yeah, just you can schedule me for book. You can book me there. My website is under construction right now, but it's BlanchardInspires.com.
And it still works. I looked at it today.
Okay.
So, and I'll put all those, if you're listening and you're driving or something, you don't have the ability to write anything down, I'll put all this in the show notes. Just go to the bottom of the episode, whether on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, and all these links will be there for you.
Yeah, and let's go change the world.
Absolutely. Okay, I got to ask you one question. I didn't even ask one question that I normally do. But there's one I can't let you leave without answering, and that is, how do you define success?
Oh, brilliant. Success is this, man. Doing what I want, when I want, with who I want. That's my success.
I love that. I totally agree too. I think I've given that answer before, so
Really?
not surprising that we'd be aligned on that. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening. This was an absolutely unbelievable episode. Part 2 is absolutely promised, and thank you for sticking with us through the whole thing.
Thanks for the opportunity, man. You're the man.
It was great. I loved it. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.